Hello and welcome to 7 Days Report. Your favorite show is here again this weekend. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsilogiannis. We delve into the latest news updates from the past week. We cover all major news from all over the world. Stay tuned. Your news is about to begin. A deadly suicide bombing near Karachi's Jinnah International Airport has claimed the lives of 2 Chinese nationals and injured at least 8 others, including police officers. The attack, which occurred around 11 p.m. local time, targeted a convoy associated with the Port Qasim Electric Power Company, a joint venture between China and Pakistan. The Baloch Liberation Army, BLA, a separatist group seeking independence for the Balochistan region, has claimed responsibility for the assault, describing it as a deliberate strike against Chinese workers engaged in infrastructure projects linked to China's Belt and Road Initiative. The explosion raised serious security concerns just days before Pakistan is set to host the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, where high-level representatives from China are expected to attend. Pakistani officials condemned the attack, labeling it a heinous terrorist act, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif vowed to ensure the safety of foreign nationals in the country. In response to the incident, the Chinese embassy in Islamabad urged its citizens to reconsider travel plans to Pakistan, particularly in regions like Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where attacks targeting Chinese workers have surged. The BLA has a history of targeting Chinese interests in Pakistan, viewing their presence as an exploitation of local resources. This incident underscores the growing tensions and risks faced by foreign workers in the region as militant activities escalate. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has publicly referred to Russian President Vladimir Putin as his closest comrade in a birthday message celebrating Putin's 72nd birthday. In his statement, Kim expressed warm congratulations and emphasized the strengthening ties between their nations, asserting that their relationship would be elevated to a new level. The message, released by North Korean state media KCNA, highlighted the deepening military alliance between Pyongyang and Moscow since the onset of the Ukraine conflict, which has raised concerns among Western nations. Kim described their partnership as invincible and eternal, a sentiment echoed during Putin's visit to North Korea in June. He stated, "Meetings and comradely ties between us will positively contribute to further solidifying the everlasting foundation of DPRK-Russia friendship." Amidst this diplomatic embrace, Kim announced plans to accelerate North Korea's military capabilities, particularly in nuclear weapons development. This comes amid allegations that North Korea has been supplying arms to Russia in exchange for economic support, further intertwining their fates as both nations face international sanctions. As the geopolitical landscape shifts, the partnership between these two isolated regimes continues to evolve, signaling a potential realignment in global alliances. Gaza is increasingly being described as a graveyard for children amid ongoing Israeli military operations, according to the United Nations. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres emphasized the urgent need for a ceasefire, highlighting that the humanitarian crisis has escalated to a profound crisis of humanity. As of early October 2024, reports indicate that over 16,191 Palestinian children have tragically lost their lives due to relentless airstrikes and ground assaults, with numbers rising daily. The situation in Gaza is dire, with more than 1.5 million residents displaced and living in overcrowded shelters, lacking basic necessities such as clean water and sanitation. The UN Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, reported that conditions in these shelters are inhumane, exacerbated by the spread of diseases among the displaced population. Healthcare facilities are overwhelmed, unable to adequately treat the influx of injured civilians, many of whom are children suffering from severe injuries and disabilities caused by explosive weapons. Guterres called on both parties to the conflict and the international community to take immediate action to alleviate this collective suffering and expand humanitarian aid to those affected in Gaza. Hurricane Milton made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast on Wednesday evening as a Category 3 storm, bringing devastating winds and torrential rain to an area still recovering from Hurricane Helene. Milton struck near Siesta Key, with sustained winds reaching 120 mph and tropical storm force winds extending up to 255 miles from its center. The storm has resulted in over 3 million power outages across the state and has been linked to at least 4 fatalities, primarily due to tornadoes that touched down before the hurricane's arrival. Governor Ron DeSantis reported significant damage, including the destruction of the fabric roof of Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. Rainfall in some areas exceeded 18 inches, leading to severe flooding and flash flood warnings throughout western and central Florida. As emergency services respond, more than 12 million residents are under tornado warnings, with multiple confirmed tornadoes reported. The National Weather Service has cautioned that the situation remains critical, with ongoing risks of flooding as Milton continues its path across Florida before moving into the Atlantic Ocean. President Biden described the hurricane as the storm of the century, urging residents to heed evacuation orders. According to data from the Federal Statistical Office, Germany's inflation rate has dipped to its lowest level in over 3 years, reaching 2.0%. This marks the lowest inflation rate since June 2021 and is attributed primarily to a significant decline in energy prices, which fell by 5.1% year-on-year. The easing inflation trend is encouraging for consumers and policymakers alike, raising hopes for potential interest rate cuts from the European Central Bank, ECB, in upcoming meetings. The ECB had previously raised rates to combat inflation, but the current data suggests a shift in economic conditions that could lead to more accommodative monetary policy. Despite the positive inflation news, the German economy faces challenges. Recent reports indicate that while inflation is decreasing, growth remains sluggish, with forecasts predicting a contraction of 0.3% over the past year and uncertainty surrounding future economic performance. Experts caution that while falling inflation may boost consumer sentiment, a sustained recovery is not guaranteed. The German Retail Association noted that a significant improvement in consumer sentiment is still not in sight, highlighting ongoing economic concerns. Your favorite show has come to its end for now. 7 Days Report was here to inform you about all major news from the past week. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsilogiannis. Before signing off, I would like to wish you a happy weekend. We'll be right back in a few hours.